Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to switch gears yet again. I'm at a standstill on the bathroom still, waiting on the bathtub. The Infinity, I've got to order some parts for it, but I need to do a little investigating on it before I order the parts, and the weather the last few days has really put a stop to that. We went from 80 degrees this past weekend to 25 and snow. So it's been some crazy weather, but we're starting to warm up. It's in the 40s today. So I don't have any parts for the Infinity and the waiting on the bathtub for the bathroom. So we're going to be working on my Chariot for the property here, this John Deere Gator. We're having a running issue with it. It runs, but just not very good. So we're going to dig into that and see if I can't fix it today on this video. So come along and let's get after it. I don't know if you can hear that, but it really, when you go to give her the onions, she really falls on her face. We'll see if we can figure that out today. The shop. Still a mess. I got me some new LED lights, which really helped my lighting situation in here. Okay, let's see what we can find on the little Gator. All right, what we're going to be going after is the carburetor. I believe that it has either some trash in it or something stopped up, because it runs fine before you really get after it, like really mash the throttle. So what I'm thinking is it's starving for fuel, etc. I've had a few issues with it in the past, but it's kind of been persistent the last couple of months. It could even be this fuel pump here, but I'm not 100% sure. It's not really going to cost me anything to clean the carburetor, so that's what I'm going to start with. Now all we've got to do to get the carburetor off, there's a clamp here, hose clamp here, hose clamp here. Take this rod off, which I'm pretty sure is the choke. Then our throttle cable, and then it should pop right off. So let's do that and see what we find. Just going to take as much stuff off as I can before I start pulling stuff, if I can get to it. Haha. Perfecto. My bad. This is the choke cable. No, it's the throttle. I don't know. Who knows? It's just a cable. It's not very important. I think I have to wait to take it off until I actually unbolt the carburetor to actually get the cable off. So that's everything loose I can get to. So now what we have to do is take this bolt or nut and this nut off, and really then the carburetor will come off. Let me pop. See, that vacuum hose come off easily. I believe that's just a breather. Let's see if fuel dumps out of this hose. Yes, it does. Let me put that up there. All right, let me pull those nuts off and we'll move on. Those up there so I can lose them. Yeah. Now I can get that cable out. Just lay that up there. Voila. One carburetor removed. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to pull this bowl. I just kind of want to see if anything's in it, any kind of dirt or grossness. I probably need to save that or I will lose it. Well, that looks very clean. No debris. The gas looks nice and clean. There is just I really don't know if you'd be able to see it, but there is just the tiniest amount of debris in there. I mean, I really don't think you can see it because the big silver or gray part here, that's your bowl drain, and then there's two little other spots. Those are just pitting of some type. The debris is actually in the gasoline, but it is so small I really don't think you would see it. So let me set that aside. The next thing I'm going to do is pull the needle. So to get your float off, there's a pin. And in most carburetors, that pin just floats. There's nothing really holding it in. And then your needle, float, and all will come out together. And there's your needle. This one's a rubber-tipped needle. Most needles have a rubber tip on them. This whole needle is a plastic of some sort. I shook the float to make sure there's no fuel in it, because I have seen really in older trucks like the Ford Ranger, they had I think it was a bronze float in the gas tank for your fuel sender, and it would actually get a hole in it and fill that float up with fuel, and your fuel level gauge would be off. So I like to shake that and just make sure because any one of these seams on this plastic could get a hole in it or something and start leaking. So I like to check those. Now see on this, now I could have done this. There's a little speck of trash on that, where that pin went through the float to hold it on. It's kind of hard. So I don't know. It could have fallen in when I took the bowl off. You never know. The next thing I'm going to do is take this out. It's kind of like a orifice. It's kind of like a screw, and it'll have holes and all sorts of things drilled in it. So I'm going to take it out. And you really want to be careful with this stuff, because there's threads not only in the bottom of that, but there are threads in this housing. So you don't want to mess those up. And there we have it. See, everything looks good. That jet looks good. Let me see if I can get you a view of it. You can see through the hole. Man, working this camera is terrible. Who's this film guy? There we go. You can see through that jet. Same way with this little doodad. I don't even know what you would call it. See, there's like probably 10 holes in this thing. But other than that, these carburetors are not really complicated. And I don't really see an issue with the seat where the needle goes. So let me grab some carb cleaner real quick, and we'll shoot it in here and see if we can clean this puppy out. Okay, now this is my preferred carb cleaner, the Berryman B12, the Chem tool. This is really good stuff. It does real well cleaning out carburetors and small orifices and things like that. I've used it for many years. It's kind of expensive, so this isn't the stuff that you want to be cleaning off your oil pan after an oil change, because it's expensive. I use brake cleaner for that, and I just get the Super Tech from Walmart. I think it's like $3 a can or something like that. But I use this Berryman Chem tool, or B12, for my carburetor stuff, or things that you really need to break stuff down. Say if this carburetor had a little speck of dirt in it, that brake cleaner may not be abrasive enough to break that up. So that's why I like the B12 for my carburetor stuff. So let me see if I can. This is absolutely cleaned out. I can see all the way through it. You can see, I don't know if you can see my nozzle or my straw from my can moving around in there, but that's definitely clean. So what I'm going to do is hit where this needle and seat is. Okay, it's coming out this port, which is correct, because that's where our gas feed line comes in. So that looks good. There was a, right there. So there's a couple of holes. I believe these are, I think that has to do with some of your, like your choke stuff. So I'm gonna blow what I can through them. Okay, so that's coming out here. So I'm not sure what that is. It's something. Get out of here, wind. The sun is supposed to be out today, but it is not, of course. I don't think that goes anywhere. That's just something. But other than that, the carburetor looks really clean, which is kind of worrying me because if it's not the carburetor, I mean, it could be the fuel pump. Let me get that out of the way. It could be the fuel pump, but I'm not 100% sure. So, tell you what I will do. Now, here's a good tip. Pay attention to how this stuff comes out, because I did not. I believe I just put it in there upside down. Which I've worked on stuff like this for a lot of years, so, and when you do that, you can kind of tell when something isn't right or not fitting right or something like that. You don't want to just force this stuff back together. If you get in that situation, get online, look stuff up, how it should go. Don't just force stuff, because that can get you into a lot of trouble, just trying to force stuff back together. Because I've been there before. When I was younger, I was like, oh, I'll make this fit. And then you end up tearing stuff up. I saw a little piece of grit go into that needle seat. So if this doesn't fix this, I really don't know what I'm going to do next. I really honestly thought when we got this place, got the Gator, there was fuel in it. And I didn't think much about it, but we run it completely out. And in my honest opinion, I was like, oh, that's just sediment from the gas tank from it running so low. And then it ran fine for a while, and then kind of did the same thing. And so I'm like, well, something's got to be up. And I just haven't had time to mess with it just a whole lot. So I wanted to do a little maintenance on it, because I've been so busy with other stuff, I don't get a lot of time to work on our actual stuff we use around the homestead, I guess you'd call it. And my wife likes the Gator, which I do too. I use it a lot, and she uses it a lot. I want to put this bowl back on. See, there's our choke. Open, closed. Open, closed. Wah! And that's your throttle blade. I guess I had that backwards. This is like blah, 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 blah. Wah! Maybe. No? Yeah. I don't know. One is choke, one is throttle. I'm not exactly sure which one. And it doesn't matter. But hey, I did just see something else. Nice. Pull that off. Okay, so I saw this little screw here. It looks kind of like an air bleed or something. Let me see if I can clean that. I've actually never noticed that, but sure enough. You see how that B12, man, it eats that crud and junk off. Now, one thing I will say about this, the reason I said earlier, you don't want to be using it around your, like, say if you do an oil change or something, and you may spill a little oil filling your engine up. You really want to be careful with that B12 if you're using it, because it's abrasive enough, it can eat up your rubber seals. So you really want to be careful with it. But it's very abrasive. As you can see how good that cleaned the screw. Yeah, I think that's an air bleed of some type. I'm not sure. But we're going to find out. And there is little holes in it. Let me shoot a dash in there and just see. Okay. I did see a little bit of gooey looking stuff come out of that. That actually runs that little brass stand that went under my other like jet screw is coming out of that and coming out of this port. So I really think it's air bleed for like the choke or something like that. But it doesn't look dirty, which I don't know if it's... The holes are clear in it. And I really don't think the end is supposed to be open. Yeah, I don't think that's supposed to be open. Well, long story short, cleaning the carburetor did not fix my running issue. So what I'm going to try next, because I'm almost certain it's fuel, because it runs fine, and then when you like stab the throttle, it just it'll die completely. So luckily I have an old parts lawnmower, so it actually has a fuel pump on it right there. So what I'm going to do is it may have to be a makeshift type deal, but at least I can try putting this fuel pump on the Gator. And this is a Kawasaki motor. The Gator also has a Kawasaki motor, or Kawazuki as I like to call them. But it's really almost the same engine. This is a bottom shaft, the Gator is a side shaft engine. So let me get this fuel pump off. I don't even know. Let me run. And I'm back. Just pop these lines off. Now this engine's bad. I don't want to say bad. It has no compression. Because I've actually tried to crank this lawnmower before, and it spins at like 80,000 RPM because it has zero compression. And then I actually put a compression tester on it, and it proved that it actually does not have compression. So let's go back and see if this is even going to be able to work. Maybe it will, or maybe it won't, who knows. See if I can. How about that? Can y'all see? Yeah, I think we'll be good enough. I've got to remember, this is this line. This is the out, in this. So it may actually bolt up and work. Let me make sure I've got the right size of everything. Shut! But I need a ratchet. Take all these clamps off. Break the lines loose. Now at this point, I'm just guessing. I am piddling because this is one of my off days and I really don't have a lot to do. So in all honesty, I am literally piddling. Okay. Whoops. I'm trying to keep all of my lines right because one, I'm pretty sure is a vacuum. I think this is a vacuum line on the crankcase. It uses this vacuum to pull out of our fuel tank and then send it over to the carburetor. So I'm going to put these clamps on. That way I won't lose anything. I'm going to fold this back, take these bolts out of this fuel pump just to kind of get it out of the way. That way, in case this is the issue, I won't have to worry about taking it off then. Because once I put this hose on, it'll probably be a little hard to get off. So I'm just going to do it now. And that way, if it does work, and say the bolt holes line up, I'll just bolt it on. Ow. Okay, that's off. That's on. Sorry if I'm blocking the camera. It's just a little cumbersome in here. There we go. One used fuel pump installed, and it actually, I think it will bolt up if it works. So let me just see. Made in Japan, Ikuni. This one may actually be rebuildable. That's why I thought if this one works, I'll leave it on there and I can take this one apart and we may be able to see if something's wrong with it. So let me give this a quick test and then I'll give you an update. Okay, we've made a little headway. I went ahead, I tried the spare fuel pump. It didn't change anything. So I thought, well, I'll check the gap on the spark plug and see how it looks. And it was a little tight, so I went ahead and re-gapped it and made sure the gap was correct on the spark plug, and it was fine. So then I got to thinking, some of these fellas that I watch on YouTube, they will rev the engine up, say on like an old car that's been sitting a long time. They will rev the engine up and put their hand over the carburetor to kind of, I guess that creates like just a huge vacuum effect, and they say it'll pull stuff loose. So I tried that on this and it actually worked. So it's opening up a lot more and a lot better now. But one thing I am going to try to show you is I still think I have a carburetor issue, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to get a carburetor for this particular engine. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So honestly, I don't know if you could see that just because of the lighting. It's a little overcast today, so it's hard to see stuff. But when I hammer that thing, it's blowing gas out of the carburetor, like towards the breather side. So that's why I think when I floor it, cover up the carburetor and let it pull that really hard vacuum for just a few seconds and then release it, I think that's why it runs better for a little bit, because this engine will run okay if you pull the choke out just a little bit. That's why I thought we were having like fuel starvation problems, like the carburetor may have been dirty. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do from here. I'm going to have to do a little more research on it, because I don't know. The thing runs and it does what we need to do. So I might actually do a video of taking the carburetor off of this old Husqvarna lawnmower around here, since it has a Kawasaki on it. It may not be the same one. It may not be the right carburetor. I don't know. I'm not going to have time today to try it. But, you know, it may work, it may not. We'll have to see. Because by no means am I rich or wealthy, either one. And I can already tell that that carburetor is not going to work. It is way bigger and way different. So, hence, I'm going to have to decide what I want to do. So I'm going to end that here. We've got it running a little better. But I figure as time goes on, just like it did a while back, it'll continue to run worse and worse. So I'm probably going to end up ordering a carburetor for it. I'll have to find one, and of course I'll video putting it on just to let you see. But if you stuck with me this long, I appreciate it, y'all. Give me a subscribe, give me a like, give me suggestions in the comments, because at this point I really just kind of film my day-to-day stuff that I do. Now, I do have some big projects coming. I have a rescue that I'm going to be doing. I'll give you a little bit of insight. If you're seeing this and you want to see it, on one of my other videos, I believe it's where I get the barn wood, where I go to my mom's house and get the barn wood. I do a little tour of a 74 Pontiac that me and my dad's had for, well, I know it's been sitting in the same spot for 30 years. It's totally stripped down. I stripped it down when I was a kid, but I have begun collecting parts to get that back rolling. I have ideas of the direction I want to go, and that video series is going to be starting very soon. I'm just kind of trying to let the rainy season get over with, because it's kind of in a place where if it rains, it's really muddy, and I just don't want to work in that type of stuff right now. So when rainy season gets over, we're going to get that car rolling, get it back home. We still have the Infinity that we're working on. I have to get some parts for it, and that type of stuff. So realistically, this is just my daily routine. I still have a lot of work to do on my shop. The next video I do on this will actually be building a loft in the back of it. I'm going to do a loft about 7 foot tall. That way we can store a lot of this crap up there and just kind of get it out of the way. But there are big things coming. And like I said, if you stuck with me this long, I mean, I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed doing the content and the videos that I've been doing, because, I mean, in all honesty, this is what I watch on YouTube. I watch dudes just go work on stuff and pull stuff out of the woods and get it running, and that's what I enjoy. So I'm like, well, I do that. I work on stuff all the time. So I thought, well, I'll just start recording my days. So give me a like, give me a subscribe, and we will see y'all in the next one. Thanks.